And we're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today we're focused on Star Trek Discovery Season 4, Episode 2, Anomaly. It's just Anomaly, not The Anomaly.
No, I think it's just Anomaly, yes.
Anomaly. And this is the second time, no, sorry, this is the first time ever, if I'm not mistaken, that the same name was used for, the same exact name was used for an episode of Star Trek.
Huh?
Yeah,
Enlighten me.
so
I don't know about this.
like okay, I we'll have to look it up, but look it up to get the exact thing. But like there's the emissary, and then there's emissary, right? And then there's like I forget what else. This is the last time there was an episode called Anomaly is was the Deep Space Nine. Hold on, let me see. Star Trek Anomaly. Let's see here. Memory Alpha might have it. Oh, Enterprise. Sorry, it was Enterprise. Actually, that's where I saw it. Enterprise Extra on Twitter quote about it, which they would. It's the Enterprise Extra. So yeah, so second time ever. I mean, sorry, first time ever that a name was used exactly the same. So little fun trivia fact. Do you want to do the episode summary for this episode, Marcelo, or shall I
uh,
take care of it?
no, you have to take the lead on this one.
Oh, by the way, before we continue, oh yeah, we said we're not doing episode summaries
Yeah.
for series 4 of Discovery. So no, we're not gonna do one. We'll just go through it. But before we continue, this episode is not live. As you may have noticed already, audience, we pre-recorded this so that we could bring it to you at the normal time. Both of us will be having Thanksgiving festivities. It's Thanksgiving today in the United States of America. So, those of you celebrating today, happy Thanksgiving. Those of you around the world, happy Thanksgiving, anyways, because it's a time for being grateful and thankful. And uh, here at Starfleet Boy, we're very grateful and thankful for your um, uh,
Viewership.
participation, viewership, and patronage. So, yes.
I like that.
All right.
Patronage.
So I guess we'll go dive right into it. The first note that I had was like just Book's grief. It was so for me, and one of the things about this episode I told about this just a few minutes ago was how great the performance was that David Ajala gave, and I really felt his grief. Like it was just like very um, present throughout his whole performance and very consistent. Like he didn't break one moment throughout the episode from like that like feeling, and it wasn't always just like through tears. It was just like the way he would look off into space, like just Book is a very exuberant character normally, very excited, and this time it was like total zap of that energy and everything. So that like really struck me about this episode.
I quite enjoyed that because I really connected with it because when my mom passed away, I was similar to Book to where I would be around people, but I wouldn't really be present. And I would often, when people would often talk to me, I would often acknowledge them, but not really acknowledge them. I would stare off into space a lot. And anytime that somebody would come up to me to try and comfort me or try and make me feel better, I would sort of just wash them off, like Book did in several instances in this episode. One moment in particular when Burnham came to check came to check up in on him when she gave him a hug, and she was just with him for a couple moments. But the fact that he didn't really acknowledge her and the fact that he just kept looking forward was really, really impactful.
Yeah, and I think that's the scene where he's just like, I think you should go now, and he's just like, he was reviewing over and over the footage from his ship to see if there was anything he missed, and that's one of the things about the situation is that like he's seemingly the sole survivor of Quajon for the time being, and it's like yeah, he's probably just like, and it's fruitless actually, like when you think about it from a logical perspective. It's like you got to move on and try to like prevent this from there's nothing he can do. He can't, well, in Star Trek you can time travel but like it's very difficult to time travel, and also we have the temporal
Of
accords
course.
that prevent it, of course. But yeah, so yeah, that was very striking for me too. That he, just again, David Ajala crushed it. Whatever he was tapping into to convey that was pretty, pretty deep stuff.
Mhm.
What did you think of Saru's return as the first officer?
I loved it. When I watched this episode at 3 o'clock in the morning my time with a friend of mine, and my friend will attest. She would attest it if she was here right now. I freaked the hell out when Burnham left Book and went to her ready room, and there you saw Captain Saru. I like the fact that they didn't build up to it. Like we didn't see his shuttle arrive; he was just there.
Yeah,
And yeah, I really really like that dynamic. And my favorite part of the scene is that you actually see the telescope that Philippa had, and I was like, oh, for somebody who has been with the show since season one, that telescope brought back so many feels in just one single solitary
a
moment. So
hundred
I
percent.
freaking loved it.
And it's interesting, right? How it's passed through, like it's kind of like that's like the symbol of Giorgio kind of has
Mm,
like been with them throughout their whole struggle and has like gone back and forth between Saru and Michael, and here yeah, that just you bringing that up gave me tingles actually just
yeah.
now remembering it. But yeah, that was like a really great moment. I think it's interesting that Saru turned down. Um, he was offered the Sojourner as a ship, and he turned it down to be first officer on Discovery. And I think it's really cool. He said, um, like that's where he felt his place was. And it's interesting. We had this similar situation with Michael. She wasn't offered the Voyager, of course, but she even said, "Well, I don't think I would take that position. Discovery's my home." So Saru seems to feel similarly. I think of them as co-captains still in my head, but honestly, it doesn't matter. The dynamic now, I think, is like really perfect between them. Like this whole episode, that was something that like really stood out to me is that like Saru's advice is so sage, and like he's so like he has such a good perspective. Sorry, my tummy's like growling. Can you hear that by the way?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so
No, it's a
embarrassing.
problem. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I just
I
realized I
don't.
didn't have breakfast.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think. I don't think our beloved audience is gonna, sort of smack you
that's
for that. So I wouldn't worry about that.
That's a little to let you guys in on a secret. I try not to eat on Thanksgiving Day. I didn't realize my tummy's gonna until Thanksgiving dinner, which starts early in our house, so it's not gonna be too
Hmm.
long from now. But I should have had a snack to
Yeah.
keep the anomaly at bay. Like that's in my tummy. I apologize for
Yeah.
that. But going back to that dynamic, I thought it was really cool, and I really enjoyed seeing Saru later on return to the bridge and everyone acknowledge him and like say how happy they are to see him, and the captain on the bridge announcement from OO is very cool and stuff like that.
Mhm. I really like the moment that leads up to that when you see Saru and Tilly in the oh my god, in the turbo lift, and just before they step on the bridge, Saru basically just takes a minute to compose himself, and then he walks in. I mean, it's something really really small, and I doubt that it was in the script. I don't know if it was in the script or not, but if Doug Jones added that little touch, I thought that was really really pitch perfect, and it's just a really small moment.
Totally. Then we find out what the anomaly actually is that caused the destruction of Quajon and all the chaos that we've been seeing, which is a roving binary black hole. Well, we find out, even though that's what they think it is, like when they actually when they actually are able to like scan it and see it and visualize it, I guess, in person, it's kind of defying what they, it is like some kind of roving black hole phenomenon, but it kind of defies what they thought it would be or how it should behave. What did you think? So so we've been waiting for this kind of reveal, and there's been a lot of like discussion about like, oh no, not another galactic level threat, or not another, not another full season of like what causes this crazy anomaly. Is it going to be the size of an Andorian this time, or like the or whatnot. But what did you think of the reveal of the anomaly?
Yeah, well, you know me. I tend to be very, very biased when it comes to Discovery, and unlike a lot of people in our space, I really enjoy the quote unquote mystery box that Discovery offers from season to season. But with that being said, I really thought that it was really, really interesting. And the most interesting thing about it is that it doesn't operate like a traditional black hole or traditional anomaly. And the fact that it can move makes me
Well, or
think,
change course like
right, right,
without, yeah,
right,
yeah,
right. The fact that it can change course without having, you know, something physically within the cloud makes me think that it's a sentient sort of black hole and anomaly. Like
yeah. Uh-oh. Do you think it's
I
gonna be like a giant? Is it like an egg that's gonna hatch, and we'll have a giant space
like
creature come out of it, or something like that? Or
I don't,
like,
I don't think it's a big giant jellyfish. Props if you understand that reference.
yeah, I
But if you,
totally
but yeah, yeah, but
do.
but if you're here, audience, you understand that reference. But I don't think it's gonna be that. But I would love for it to be something like that. And in reference to them stretching out the whole mystery box to what the anomaly is, I really think it depends on the way that they structure the season. If they make a captivating story that goes throughout all 10 episodes or 15 episodes, I don't know how many episodes we exactly have this season, but if they make a captivating story and if they stretch out the anomaly thing, if it's good enough, people like us won't complain that it took them the whole season to figure out what this anomaly is and who's behind it and what it actually wants. It's when Discovery doesn't handle the mystery box well that we complain and we whine.
How do you think Discovery's done so far from season 1 through 3, as far as handling the mystery box? So season 1, I guess there wasn't really a mystery box
Not
per
yet. No.
se. I would
No.
say
See.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, season 1 was not a mystery
Yeah.
box season.
Season one was the outlier when it comes to Star Trek Discovery because season one has been well documented. Season one was a disaster.
Well,
As
it's a
the
beautiful disaster,
yeah,
I
yeah, okay,
think. Yeah.
okay, but hold on.
Sorry,
It
go
was a
ahead.
it was a disaster behind the scenes.
Right, right, right.
As as part of the course with every first season of a Star Trek show. I mean, for God's sakes, look at Next Generation. That thing was a was a dumpster fire.
A beautiful dumpster fire, if you
But
will.
but with that being said, I thought that Star Trek Discovery season one really set the tone for what kind of show this was going to be. But I don't think that the show really got its footing until season two and three.
Season
Because
two's mystery box was the Red Angel and
right, right, right,
the red
right,
flares, and then season
the
three,
red
of
burst,
course,
yeah,
was the burn. So yeah,
right, right.
how did they
But
hold up though for you? Like those mystery boxes, like were you disappointed or were you satisfied with those two previous
I
ones?
look, when it came to the Red Burst storyline, I would have rather it have been like just a search for Burnham's mother the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have probably just included the Red Burst thing in just a little bit, but I didn't really particularly like the fact that it was Burnham. It was revealed at the end that it was Burnham, the one who actually set the red burst signals. I would have much rather it been Burnham's mom, and for it to focus on the search for Burnham's mom and have Burnham's mom be the one that set the signals in the in the first place. When it
Yeah.
comes to when it comes to season three, I really enjoyed the brother sister dynamic between Ethan Peck and Sonequa Martin Green. I thought that their chemistry, at first, it took me a while to warm up to it, but as the season went along, I
You mean
I
season
grew.
two? You're still on. I think you said season three, but
I did.
season two is where we get
Okay.
most of the Spock Burnham development.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry. I'm getting sorry.
No, it's okay.
Um.
We're both a little punchy. We've had a little bit less sleep than normal, so it's
Yeah. Sorry.
okay.
Sorry, guys. Um. but I really like the sister and brother dynamic, and it took me a while to warm up to it, but once I did, I really, really bought into it. Like the more and more I watch, specifically seasons 2 and 3 of Discovery, I like them more and more every time that I watch them. I really do.
This the Red Angel mystery was, you know, satisfying for me, but like it wasn't like the thing that I think I took away the most. You know, it wasn't the thing that gave me the most satisfaction from season two, and certainly the burn upon first viewing, I was a little disappointed that I was just because I mainly because I was a little confused, or I just didn't understand. Like, it just seemed like a lot that like this child could, you know, set off this like galactic level event, you know. But
Mhm.
upon rewatching it, I feel a little less it feels more plausible based on what they say, like the actual dialogue they have in the episode and like kind of the explanation for it and so on and so forth. So again, but it was just still very satisfying. I have high
Mhm.
hopes for the Anomaly in season 4 because it does seem to me like a more manageable threat. I know it like just destroyed a freaking planet, but it does seem like something that is naturally occurring. Like there's not going to be, you know, like Andorian size behind it. I do wonder though, since you brought it up in our discussion just now, if there is a sentience or something, maybe something's trying to break through into our universe from another universe. That could be something like that's happening. It could be the Kelvin timeline,
Oh God, don't tease me. Please don't tease me. Please don't do that to me. I didn't, folks, I didn't bring it up.
how
You did.
great would it
Don't
be at
blame
the
me.
end of the season? Captain Kirk, Chris Pine, is like
Oh my
is
God.
like standing on the bridge of the Discovery.
Oh my
It's
God.
like you'd probably freak out, right?
Yeah, I
No,
would.
but so far I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued by the Anomaly, and I'm looking forward to seeing you know, what's to come. Audience, let us know what you think of the Anomaly. I'd love to know in the comments or in the chat if you're on the live chat for this right now. We then get like the Starfleet Federation roundtable scene, and you know, which is pretty cool, like to see all the different kind of, you know, ships and even non-Federation members. And then Tarina is back, and she offers the aid of Navarre to the cause, which was really touching. It was a really cool moment. And we got to see President Tarina and President what's her name? Rilka? Is it not
Real,
Rilka?
yeah, President. I think it's Rilke.
Rylek. I think it's
Riley,
Rylek.
Riley, Riley.
Oh, geez, we're
Uh,
messing up the
guys,
president's name. Now we have to look it up.
guys,
But
you
anyways, it
guys,
was
you're
cool to
gonna have
see
to
them
forgive us.
interacting. It was cool to see them interacting, and you know, it's going to be interesting to see. Navarre hasn't joined the Federation or rejoined the Federation, so it's going to be interesting to see um, some scenes. Hopefully, more scenes as this season progresses between those two characters. What did you think of all of that?
I really liked that scene in specifically watching, basically all the captains in the Federation break down what the anomaly is, basically, or what they think the anomaly is at that point. I really enjoyed that specific scene. But the one thing I had running through my head the entire time is like, where are the chairs? Why don't they have chairs?
It's standing. It's a standing place, and I guess if you really need a
Yeah.
chair, like programmable matter, right? Like it just fly.
Yeah.
It could just like
Yeah.
come up underneath you. Maybe they're sitting and
Mhm.
you just don't see the
Yeah.
this, you
Maybe.
know,
Yeah.
like the bottom of the chair. Whatever. It's
No, but
like
I understand visually why because it's it's a much better visual to have everybody standing than sitting. It's a much better visual. But I really, really enjoyed that scene just because I think after that scene I got a really good understanding of what they thought the anomaly is at that point. Because up until then, I was like, okay, there's this thing in space, but I needed a little bit more. And that scene in particular gave me just that little bit more that I needed to really get an understanding about what they think this anomaly is at the point when they had that meeting.
yeah, that's where they came up with. That's where they presented the roving
Right.
binary black hole, theory. It is President Rilak, so Rilak or Rilak. So
Relax,
yeah, so
relax.
good to know. Good to get it right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I kind of like the standing thing because we've had like a lot of these like Federation Council gatherings, and they're always sitting at a conference table. So I kind of like that they stand. It is a little bit more Star Wars than visually looking at it. Like, there's always a scene in Star Wars where they're standing around a holographic disc projector and they're like reviewing the mission. But I really do think that Star Trek has put its own kind of flavor on it, and it felt different enough that I wasn't like, oh, like what like what are we doing here? Uh, but also, as is often I like to point out, Star Trek inspired Star Wars slash Star Wars inspired Star Trek. So it's like life imitating art slash art imitating life type of thing. So they're all both gonna always inspire one another. Um, but yeah, I liked that too because it forces briefings to be short. Maybe maybe it's like a thing like where it's like, since we're standing, we can't be standing here for like hours and hours. Like,
Right, right, right.
so who knows? Maybe that's what it is. I also do that like it's like a giant round table. One of the things that I always find interesting about I just love Arthurian kind of legend, and seeing like either Admiral Vance or President Rylak as like the head of this round table, and here are all the knights of the round table of Starfleet or the Federation. It kind of had a cool vibe, so I like that a lot.
That's a good point. I didn't see that. I didn't get that vibe at all, but that's a nice little pickup there.
Yeah, I think it's a little obscure. I think it's just where my mind tends to
Yeah,
wander.
it's just where your mind tends to wander. One thing that I will point out, um, Sonequa Martin Green looked particularly beautiful in this episode. I don't know what the hell it was,
Yeah,
but
she's very stunning, but I think there's
just
just like she's meant to be Captain, man. Like, I think
yeah,
that like as Captain Burnham just shines, like she's her full glory, if you will.
yeah,
Uh
yeah, but I'm sorry, she still has a lot to learn, but
yeah,
she
she's
just
great
has
at.
this commanding presence now that she's sitting in the chair. I'm sorry, you can go.
No, 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 please. I enjoy being interrupted for good points like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
We get a nice scene with Tilly and Saru. This is just before that bridge scene we talked about earlier, where you said he kind of like takes a moment and stuff like that. And I was particularly struck by his comment, which I told about also, which is how we choose to spend our moments. In this, basically, he's saying like, basically, it's important and it matters how we choose to spend our moments, however brief our time may be. So I really like that. That kind of struck me, and it is true. Like, especially nowadays, just in real life, it's more and more. I feel like all of us as a society are attempting to focus on what's essential, because there's so much noise out there and so much just so much stuff going on that it's hard to sometimes focus on what's essential. And so I thought that was a nice reminder, especially on this Thanksgiving day. So the wisdom of Saru continues to impress. Uh,
Old man Saru.
old
Old
man
man Saru.
Saru.
I'm loving it. I'm loving
Well, he is
but
the he's the great elder, right?
yeah,
On Kaminar,
it's-
so it's true. He's
but
definitely embodying that, and he's just such a good character. I like really love that he's the first like fully alien bridge character that we've seen. Like in a while. It's just like, it's just really really cool. Like, he's just not that he's fully. So I guess Spock is an alien, and so is Tuvok, and but like
no,
the
but
way he just looks so different. Like, he looks like a real like
yeah,
different
but
species and stuff. Yeah, it's
yeah, but
cool.
I would disqualify Commander Spock from that category because Commander Spock is half human and Saru is a full alien. He's the only Kelpian
I
in
guess he definitely has the distinction of being the first like Star Trek
yeah.
show that had featured like an alien being the captain, right?
Right, right, right,
Like,
right.
we at least got that, which was pretty cool. Yeah, and so that
Mhm.
was really nice.
The
This season. Well, go ahead. Sorry, Marcella.
Okay. The other thing that I loved is the scene where it cuts to Burnham on top of this mountain, and and she's looking at a sunset. And at first I'm like, what the hell? But I'm like, is that a holodeck? And then just a couple seconds later, the holodeck door opens up and Saru comes. I'm like, oh my god, this is like the second time we've seen holodecks on
So it's
Discovery.
not
And I'm
a
like,
holodeck, it's her
or,
quarters. Those are her
yeah,
quarters that can be your so in the which this makes sense and I loved this little detail. But of
yeah,
course, in the 32nd century, everything's probably
portable,
holographically portable. Yeah, exactly.
portable,
Like
yeah, portable.
and so it makes sense that her quarters could just turn into a holodeck whenever she wants it to. And it makes sense to me even from a technical perspective. Like I bet all of her furniture, everything, most of the things in there are just holographic anyways. Like it's just that the room turns into her quarters sometimes and then it could turn into Navarre and the cliffs of Surak, in the next moment. I thought that was one of the coolest
It
developments is like
was,
having a personal holodeck in every single. Maybe it's like maybe it's a captain's privilege. I don't know, but I feel like it'd be cool if they explore it like and let you have different. That I mean, imagine you could decide you're in your little cramped quarters on the Cerritos or whatever in the 32nd century, but you could turn it into a beach. You could camp out on the beach at night, or like
yeah,
you could turn it into like Chateau Picard, as we've seen on Star Trek Picard, and you could like, I bet Jean Luc could go to sleep in his chateau on the La Serena, and so it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, that was a pretty cool
yeah.
a cool moment. Nice pointing that out there. This episode featured my favorite visual representation of the jump. It was like by leaps and bounds. I played it over and over and over again. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't think we've seen this before in the
uh,
series.
no, you're not. I'm gonna need a little
So
help. What do you
when
got?
Disco leaves from the briefing, when Vance is like, "We're gonna dispatch Disco immediately," and they do that first jump to get to the anomaly. It's the first time I think we see it from quite that angle, and when she jumps into place, the stars are spinning in the background, like perfectly
Oh,
spinning, like from that angle. We've always seen it like from behind or different. This was like just like I don't know, something about it was like it was my favorite jump of the whole series, the whole series. Like I loved
oh,
the way it looked. It was very pretty, and it's
that's
at
very
about
very
11
cool.
minutes. Yeah, it's about at 11 minutes and 42 seconds. So if you want to go back and check
Yeah,
it
well,
out.
I'm gonna watch the episode when I get back from my Thanksgiving coma. Well, I don't technically, I don't eat that much, so I won't be in a, I won't be in a turkey coma, but I may be hungover just a little bit. So I'm not advocating drinking and driving. I'm not doing that. But when I come back, I will keep an eye out for it. The other thing that I would like to mention before we move on here, I'm sorry for taking over just a bit.
No, please, you're always welcome to.
But I really like the way that the writers have chosen to write the characters and the way that they interact with each other, because it seems to me that they're speaking to one another with much more respect, and they're speaking with much more Starfleet cadence this season.
Yes. Well, or just like something about their synergy, right? There's like a more
Yeah,
it's evident it's there's something casualer, I think, for lack
right.
of like not as intense about their interactions. And we get it twice. We get like of course the Stamets Burnham Culber scene
Right.
where Stamets makes that funny remark about shooting me out of an airlock too
Lock.
soon.
Yeah. Too soon.
Too soon.
No, but
And
even no, I'm sorry. Even when Tilly goes up to ask Burnham something in earlier seasons, she would have just said Michael, right? Or,
mm,
Michael. But now, every time that somebody wants Burnham's attention, where they say
Captain.
Captain,
That's
right?
proper though. Yeah, I think that's great.
And I'm like, yes. Why couldn't they? Well, I'm not going to complain because I loved the way that Discovery handled their dialogue in the early seasons, but I wonder what facilitated this sort of switch and little change.
Well, they were saying Captain to Saru. I think it's just literally. But I do think I see what you're saying. I think that the crew probably had time finally to have missions that are not just like, we're having one now, but in between last season and this season, the feeling I get is the crew got to bond and just like actually have like chill missions for a change where
Right,
they like
right.
didn't like season 1 Klingon War and Mirror Universe, season 2 Red Angel threat, season 3 The Burn, season
Oh my
4
god.
okay, it's an
Let's
anomaly, but
chill.
we had a little time in between season 3 and 4 to like finally bond as a crew. And because there was no time, there's like literally, as you know, season 1 and season 2 bleed right into each other as far as like
That's right.
the
Time.
time goes. And so does season 3. We have a 1 year jump, but like they both arrive,
Bleed, yeah.
like from the perspective of the Discovery, it's just like literally from season 3 when they left to when they arrive, so it's interesting. It is. And you do see, I like that, you do see that year reflected in Burnham last season, and here, whatever amount of short time they've had between seasons, you see the results of it. I mean, like we have these new uniforms from last season as well.
They look so good.
They look so good. Yeah, they do really look good. And I've got my little disco pin that I get to wear now, which is kind of
Yeah.
fun.
I guess what I'm just trying to say is I just like the amount of respect that they're paying to Burnham and the way that they're talking to each other now, much more than the way that they used to. Yeah,
Excellent. Yeah,
that's what
I
I'm
see
trying to
too.
say.
And on the bridge later in that scene, that was one of the things that struck me. It reminded me a lot of like kind of, it's a trope that I think was more prevalent in previous iterations of Trek. But like, there's a scene where they're trying to figure out how to get Book's ship to ride out on the wave, and it was every single member of the crew contributed something, and Reese got like a shout out at the end of that. So it was very cool. Yeah, there's like a different vibe with the crew. I'm really digging it, and we're getting to know them a little more, a lot more, I should
A
say,
lot
uh,
more.
than we have in previous seasons, which is really
Mhm.
nice. So we finally come face to face with the anomaly, and we discover that the only way to get that they need to get telemetry from within the anomaly. They have to breach this like dust cloud, basically, but it's too dangerous for the Discovery to do it. But Book ship is ideal for the task, and so Book basically volunteers. And I love that whole scene where he, like, I love the whole conflict of this episode where Burnham has to decide if Book is truly capable of carrying out this mission, uh, because he's compromised. He's emotionally compromised, and who knows what kind of things he'll do. He's constantly distracted, like all normal things to be going through, to be experiencing under this situation of grief. But he doesn't have the Starfleet training, so she doesn't quite trust him exactly. If he can carry this out. So a lot of the episode is spent coming up with the solution, which is to take basically to take Stamets with him, and then attach a programmable matter
Tether.
tether to the ship so that she can recall them both if need be. What did you think of all of that?
I really, really like that sequence. First, like you just said, I really like the fact that Burnham didn't trust Book blindly. She recognized that Book was sort of unfit to do this because he was going through the trauma of just losing his planet. And I really like that she struggled with that decision. I really, really, really did enjoy that.
Yeah, and she even
But
quotes, she's like, even you would say no, and you'd be right. Like,
yeah.
like if it was me, you would tell me not to go too. There's like a lot of good compelling arguments from both sides.
Mhm. But my favorite thing about that whole sequence is the fact that it's Stamets. Stamets goes with Book into the anomaly as a hologram, and I love the fact that before Stamets sits in the chair and engineering to before he gets the thing that allows him to project himself onto Book's ship, he asks Colbert, "Why me? Why did you guys pick me to help Book out? I don't know anything about Book. I basically have nothing in common with the man." And Colbert says, "You have something in common with him. You've gone through this grief. You've gone through grief. So you can use that to connect with him. You can use that to understand him. You are the one person right now that could possibly get to him and help him collect this data. Nobody else can do that at this particular moment except you."
Yeah, and there was some awkwardness between them, so it was nice to see that um, get resolved and come to a head too. Yeah, great point. Um, so yeah, that was like a big chunk of the episode. Another interesting tidbit that was taking place was Gray's new body, which is Soong technology, and it was a Picard reference, and I was so pleased and chuffed about this reference, and it kind of like I think Father's going to talk a little bit more about it on his stream, which I believe is going on as planned tomorrow, Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. But I was really pleased with the reference to Star Trek Picard, and also to get an update where we, a big question was like, well, is everyone gonna just like get a golem, body now, and like, is this like is this like the Baku, like the technology, like is this like that? Are we gonna exploit all these things? And so it was stated in this episode quite clearly that they did try, but the experiment was mostly unsuccessful. So it looks like Jean Luc is one of the successful
Did,
attempts, unless he starts
um,
glitching out at the end of season two. Like that would be crazy. Oh,
yeah.
Marcelo will be right
Hold
back,
up,
I think.
hold up. I'll be.
Sure.
Hold on. Just I'll be right back. Just give me a second.
All right, all right. Well, Marcelo comes back. Audience, tell us, what did you think of that little update? I love little moments in the in Star Trek that connect to other series, and so that was cool that Disco did like a nice little reference and like give us a little closure on a question from another series, which is cool.
I'm so sorry to do this to you, Captain, but I have to book because
Oh, okay. Real quick, well, we'll end this discussion. Can you stick around just to give your rating real quick and
yeah, yeah,
tell
yeah, yeah,
everyone?
yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah, absolutely. I guys, I'm sorry I have to run, but family bullshit.
Oh,
It's not. It's
it's
not.
not
It's not.
BS.
It's not BS, but it's family stuff. So I really, really love this episode, and I don't know if it's the fact that I'm watching the episodes with my friend, or it's the fact that I'm just loving where the season is sort of going so far. So with all that being said, I would give this episode a 10. I absolutely loved every single thing about it.
Excellent. I'll give a quick closing statement. The only other thing I wanted to mention before we go was that I thought it was cool that Zora made her appearance in this episode. The computer is now called Zora, which is what the computer is called in that. So I think there's like another little advancement. Another we're slowly closing the getting answers to other questions from Star Trek Discovery. Yeah, I'm
Is
gonna give this episode a 10 too, Marcelo. I really enjoyed it. Just the crew working together, the whole premise. Loved the anomaly. Loved that last shot where they zoom out and it's like this gigantic, like epic
I
thing. It was an
what
eye,
is it?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it's
What is
true.
it? What is it with
Hey,
the? What is it?
we're gonna have to come up with it. We have to do a special episode where we where we figure that out. But Marcelo, I appreciate you so much for coming on. Audience, thank
Yeah,
you. Sorry for cutting this discussion a little bit
I
short. Let us know in the
guys,
comments.
it's my fault.
No, it's okay. We can only do this episode with two people. I've gone on before where it's just me like going la la la, la, but I always end up just rambling. So I always need someone to help keep me in check. But we'll
Uh,
leave this chat to just say that it was a hell of a day on Star Trek
that was a hell of a day.
Discovery,
I like that. I like that.
which is something that they say in the episode. And I
It was a
hope
hell
you
of a
all
day.
have a wonderful Thanksgiving, those of you celebrating. And everyone else, thank you so much for coming by. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you would. And check out Marcelo on his Twitter account, which is the same as his name. Hold on, let me take this out so people can see, right? Marcelo
Yep.
in
Hmm.
Nostroza. And
Yep.
you can also check out his various endeavors on YouTube and podcasting, from
Yeah.
the Red Wall to Balloon Head Productions.
Wow, under
Everything
pressure.
is.
Yeah, yeah, under pressure, you actually get it. It's when you relax
Yeah,
and when you're
it's
drunk, you
when I
don't.
relax I don't get it. And we'll see you guys on Saturday for our Star Trek return to Star Trek TOS discussions. We'll be doing the Enterprise incident, and I'm looking forward to that. So thank you very much.